Joe Biden is a tool, but can he be used? I'm Francesca and I hope you're staying home with me because eventually I'd like to leave. Anyway, I am taking a break from mourning Bernie Sanders dropping out of the presidential race to talk about Joe Biden winning the Democratic nomination for. While it looks like he's got the nomination all but wrapped up, Biden's victory against Trump is far from guaranteed, especially not without Bernie's coalition behind him. And from the looks of how he's pivoting, Biden knows it. So what can he do to earn progressive support? And will centrists and those on the left come together, kicking and memeing? It's no secret this show has a bias toward equality, justice, jokes involving my cat, and human survival. And the need for all of those things have been made all the more clear with a pandemic that is disproportionately falling on the backs of low-wage workers, people of color, the homeless, the undocumented, and the incarcerated. In other words, the most vulnerable. That's why it's made the need for the policies of Bernie Sanders clearer than ever. And yet at the same time, as we're all forced to shelter in place and frantically watch the news, another thing has been made just as clear. This president, in his infinite megalomaniacal idiocy, is trying to kill us.
As the New York Times said, we have Monday Night Football type ratings. Hydroxychloroquine. Try it. War against the Chinese virus. The germ has gotten so brilliant that the antibiotic can't keep up with it. You're a fake. You know that. Your whole network, the way you cover it, is fake.
And that was the last egg in my ovary, packing up its knapsack to stow away on the next tampon out of Reproduction City. All aboard! Humanity is done! Trump cannot get 4 more years in office. And after a series of losses and the immense difficulty of grassroots organizing in the midst of a pandemic, Bernie Sanders suspended his campaign, which means the person to unseat Trump must be...
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other guy. Give me a look, though, okay? That's all I've really got to say to you. I got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. I'm looking at the clock down here.
Now, it's hard to imagine that is the Democrats' strongest horse. After all, politically, he seems like a Clinton 2.0 or 0.5, depending on whether he's napped that day. But Biden did sweep in southern states like South and North Carolina, won handily in Minnesota and Michigan, and even eked out a victory in states like Washington. He's winning the popular vote and leads in delegates by at least 300. He can win. And it's clear the majority of Democrats are hoping to go for what they believe is a safe and familiar bet. Voting for Joe was like taking home a 1998 Honda Civic. Sure, it has 450,000 miles on it, a broken headlight, and the Carfax report uncovered a sexual assault allegation, but it'll take you from point A to point B. But Biden could be a hard sell in the general, with the block of voters who support an energy he badly needs, progressives. That's because he lobbied heartily for the Iraq War, has checkered support of Roe v. Wade, has advocated cutting Social Security, silenced Anita Hill, helped write the '94 crime bill which created mass incarceration, doesn't support Medicare for All or the Green New Deal, and has been accused of unwanted sniffing, touching, and most recently of sexual assault. And it's hard to excite young voters when his style of speech can only be described as buffering. Biden's nomination leaves progressives in a tough place, but one that I would argue is still a place of power, if they can use it. Because for all the things he is, Biden is not Trump. He might have been on the wrong side of history many times in his career, but at least that history doesn't include thinking the good guys lost World War II. Is that a low bar? It used to be. Joe Biden is a political hack. Unlike Bernie Sanders, who consistently backs progress even when it wasn't politically advantageous to do so, Biden has gone whichever direction the political wind blows, like that feather in Forrest Gump, if Forrest Gump made all the wrong choices. Mom always said a school bus is like a box of chocolates. It's best if you separate the nuts and chews. But occasionally that hackery has led to Biden doing some good things. In 1990, he introduced and successfully passed the Violence Against Women Act, which helped to lower the rate of intimate partner violence by 64%, according to the DOJ. Raging hypocrisy or not, he made a difference. And his current platform includes things like raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour and abolishing private prisons, which means he, like so many others, has already been influenced by Bernie. Now, some on the left are using Bernie's loss as a reason to abstain from electoral politics, get the old crust punk collective back together, and work on true non-nuclear family polyamory while trolling me in the comments. And others are using it to organize, like Women's March co-founder and Bernie surrogate Linda Sarsour.
Donald Trump can't get 4 more years, and we can't allow that. What I'm asking you to think about is, who do you want your opponent to be in the White House? And I'm deciding at this moment that our opponent in the White House be Joe Biden. We need Medicare for all, and we need Joe Biden to understand that we need Medicare for all. We got to push Joe Biden.
And there's reason to believe that Biden is pushable. In many of the same states he won, the majority of Democrats support Medicare for all. And that means there's room for leverage from both inside electoral politics, but also outside of it, from the grassroots. As the father time of the left, Noam Chomsky, explains, under less fascist administrations, grassroots movements have more of a chance to make demands and potentially win.
These efforts succeeded when there was a tolerant or sympathetic administration, not when there wasn't. That's a big one of many enormous differences between Trump, the sociopath, and Biden, who's kind of pretty empty. You can push him one way or another.
As an example, take Barack Obama. Even though he's been called the deporter-in-chief, Obama did cave to pressure from the immigrant rights group The Dreamers and agreed to pass DACA and then extend the same protections to the parents of undocumented Americans. Gains that have now been obliterated by Trump. Because Biden is pretty empty and malleable. Since Bernie dropped out, he's already made policy changes like immediate student debt cancellation of a minimum of $10,000 and lowering the age of Medicare to 60, which Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez rightfully called almost insulting, but it's better than being fully insulting, so progress. And many activist groups today sense Biden's vulnerability to pressure, even ones who endorsed Bernie Sanders to begin with, like the climate action group Sunrise Movement, which wasted no time in sending Joe Biden a letter, along with groups like March for Our Lives and Justice Democrats that made very explicit demands. Things like not appointing current or former Wall Street executives or corporate lobbyists or people affiliated with the fossil fuel, health insurance, or private prison corporations to his cabinet. They also pointedly tell him that they have $10 million to spend between them, and that they can and will use it to his advantage if he includes them and their issues. Which is kind of like the movie Indecent Proposal if Robert Redford were a group of activists and Demi Moore was a fading septuagenarian, which, if I'm being honest, was still hot. But will Biden actually allow himself to be pulled to the left? He's paying a lot of lip service to Bernie in ways unimaginable from Hillary's team in 2016, which means the progressive movement now has more power than they might think. Biden also put out a statement saying that, quote, Bernie doesn't get enough credit for being a voice that forces us all to take a hard look in the mirror and ask if we've done enough, and has explicitly said to Bernie supporters that, quote, you are needed. You're damn right we are. On the day Bernie endorsed Biden, the two went live in a very boomer Zoom call in which Biden said some pretty surprising things.
I see you. I tell your supporters, I see you. I hear you. I understand the urgency of what it is that we have to get done in this country. And I hope you'll join us so that it goes down in history, with your help, Bernie, as one of the most progressive administrations since Roosevelt.
Wow, you want to be the next FDR? It should have been Bernie. I'm fine. And sure, he said all those things from a teleprompter, but so am I. I mean, you take this away and it's just corn pop anecdotes. The great thing about Biden being hopelessly glued to a script is that the left can change it. Biden is basically Ron Burgundy. He may just read anything put in front of him. So let's fight to add Medicare for all, ending fossil fuel subsidies, legal marijuana, and throw in a go f yourself San Diego for old time's sake. The live also revealed that there may be more than just lip service.
Bernie and I have agreed to establish, as we said, we already talked about it, 6 policy working groups. One on the economy, one on education, one on criminal justice, it should be reform, not punishment, one on immigration, climate change, and the economy.
And yeah, he just said economy twice when he probably meant healthcare, but it is still a win in my, you know the thing. Progressives have a right to feel disillusioned and angry, but we don't have a right to stop fighting or sit it out. Because remember,
Complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. Very fine people on both sides. President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today. The United States will not be a migrant camp. Qasem Soleimani has been killed, and his bloody rampage is now forever gone. Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. You know that, right? Coronavirus. This is their new hoax.
you can't work with that. You can work with Joe Biden. And voting for him doesn't mean agreeing with him, bending the knee, or even believing in him or the Democratic Party. It simply means wielding power strategically. As AOC told the New York Times, she'll support Biden, but unity isn't about ignoring criticism or even forgiving the past. Rather, quote, the whole process of coming together should be uncomfortable for everyone involved. That's how you know it's working. And if Biden is only doing things he's comfortable with, then it's not enough. So let's make sure Joe Biden is uncomfortable as he made this girl. Thanks again for watching News Broke and for being here. Where else are you going to go? We're all trapped. Make sure to like this video, share it, and subscribe to AJ Plus. And let us know in the comments below what you think that Joe Biden could do to win the progressive vote.